All right, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:29. We return from closed session. This time, Trustee Milchiker will read out the actions taken in closed session.
Okay, today, on a 6-0 vote with Trustee Padberg absent, the board voted to terminate an adjunct faculty member at Irvine Valley College. On a 6-0 vote with Trustee Padberg absent, the board voted to reject a former adjunct faculty member's appeal of an administrative determination that the complaint alleged discrimination was without merit. On a 6-0 vote, with Trustee Padberg absent, the board voted to approve a 1-year general unpaid leave without benefits to a part-time classified employee. On a 6-0 vote, with Trustee Padberg absent, the board approved a general leave with benefits to teach a part-time class for 2014-15 academic year to a full-time classified employee at Saddleback College. On a 6-0 vote, with Trustee Padberg absent, the board voted to reject a claim filed by James Parnell. And that is it. Thank you. That I can read out.
Thank you. At this time, we'll now ask you to stand for the invocation led by myself, and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Trustee Wright. At this time, I would like us to take a moment to reflect, and I'll ask for a moment of silence to really give thought, regardless of your politics, of your feelings or beliefs, of which side is right or wrong, that we really, really hope, and I hope that you will use this opportunity to give very positive thoughts for real peace in the Middle East region. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, in the agenda, we entertain public comments. At this point, I have one request from Margot Lovett.
I always forget how far away we are over there. We have to move over here. Good evening, everyone. I would like to speak tonight to the issue of faculty sabbaticals. In current contract negotiations, the board proposes limiting the number of faculty sabbaticals awarded each year. And I want to speak on this against this issue, or against this proposal, on the grounds that I think it would be extremely detrimental to student success. Faculty who are awarded sabbaticals spend their time working on projects that directly benefit students, and I have a couple of examples of current sabbatical projects. One is, for example, a curriculum study of Cal State University's first and second year course offerings in subjects such as kinesiology, with the intent of expanding the variety of courses which we offer our students at Saddleback. A second project is working on videos for faculty in best practices in online teaching, and another series of videos for students on how to succeed in an online class. And finally, some faculty pursue research projects of their own that involve primary research in their fields, such as anthropology or geography or history. And this brings something unique to their classroom teaching. And bottom line, sabbaticals really are an essential way that the faculty either maintain and or expand their expertise in their fields and contribute outside of the classroom to the process of student learning. So I would strongly urge the board to rethink its position on faculty sabbaticals. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Seeing no other slips, no other requests for public speaking. All right, thank you very much. This time we have recognitions. We have no resolutions this evening. We do have one commendation going to be presented by Irvine Valley President, Irvine Valley College President, Glenn Roquemore.
Thank you very much. On Thursday, August 21st, just last, Nancy Montgomery, the Director of Health, Wellness, and Veterans Services at Irvine Valley College, was honored at the Black Chamber of Commerce of Orange County in their 30th anniversary celebration dinner held at the City National Grove of Anaheim. IVC commends Nancy's excellence and service, and many of us were pleased to join in this inspiring recognition of all of her good work. Nancy was one of the 3 recipients honored by the Black Chamber with the 2014 Community Leadership Award. Nancy has served on several boards in an effort to raise awareness for breast health care and domestic violence prevention. She serves on the Health Services Association for the California Community Colleges, serves as a veterans rep for the Chancellor's Office Advisory Group on Student Mental Health, and is currently president of the Region 8 Veterans Consortium and region rep for the Chancellor's Office Veterans Health Program. Her work includes developing veterans resources centers and designing and implementing a suicide prevention program for veterans at the college level in Orange County. She has written over $3 million in grants for funding programs that serve veterans and health care for underserved children. She serves as the education chair and the interagency for Veteran Council under the California CalVet program. Nancy was named the Nurse Week Nurse of the Year for Community Service. She also received the Audrey Nelson Community Development Achievement Award and was honored by the Office of Congresswoman Lucille Roybal Allard in Washington, D.C. for her outstanding service in an underserved area. We all congratulate Nancy Montgomery on a job well done.
Nancy, do you have anyone here with you you'd like to say any words or?
My VP, Linda. I just want to say thank you very much for this. It's quite an honor again to be just honored with getting this. I also think that it's a good combination for me to be here to work with our veteran students, and our relationship with Saddleback is really strong, and I'm really looking forward to working together. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so next we have board reports. I'm going to throw everyone for a loop and start on this end this time, just to shake things up. So we'll start with Trustee Lang.
No report. So
there you go. I have a feeling that trend will not continue. Trustee Wright.
Good evening, everyone. School has now started. I walked around campus for about a half an hour this afternoon. It was just fun to just be here on campus again and to talk to students and ask them how things are going. And most of them say things are going very well. So I'm pleased to hear that. I want to know that I was able to attend a number of events during In-Service Week. I attended the IVC's President's Breakfast, the President's Welcome, and the keynote speaker. And President Roquemore had invited a wonderful person to be the keynote speaker, Dr. P.M.It. She was talking about reclaiming the American dream, strengthening the success of Irvine Valley College students. She said a number of things, gave us a number of figures and facts. I won't give you a lot of these, but a couple of the things that she said is that the American dream is at risk Median incomes have stagnated between the years 1972 to 2000, and now they've declined by 8%. The middle class is declining. And also, the United States now ranks number 16th in the world amongst countries regarding the awarding of degrees. So we have a lot to do. And she really painted a wonderful picture, and she was a good choice for the keynote speaker. I also attended the district Chancellor's opening session, and that was a wonderful event also. We had a special guest there that Chancellor Portner had invited, and that was the State Chancellor Bryce Harris. He gave a wonderful talk. He talked about student success 2 years later. Just a marvelous thing. Also, right after that, we went to the dedication of the A400 building. Not the dedication, but the groundbreaking. It'll be dedicated a year from now, hopefully. It's the first design-built new facility in our district, and so I was excited to see that happen. On Wednesday, I went to Saddleback College and attended the President's opening session there, listened to the President's talk. He has a wonderful handout that he gives talking about the top 10 things that are going to be worked on this year, and also the results of the 10 items that were worked on last year. Just a wonderful event. Went to the faculty breakfast, Student Success Committee kickoff, and then gearing up for accreditation. Finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about, I went to the Geek Report. The wait for wait list is finally over. And I've been advocating wait lists for more than 10 years, that we need them. And I was excited to see that and to hear what's happening. And thank you for making that happen. It will help students, in particular in the sciences and math. That will really help students. The other thing I wanted to report on are two more items. One is I attended the Black Chamber 30th anniversary celebration gala honoring Nancy Montgomery last Thursday. That was a wonderful, wonderful event. And I just want to brag about Nancy for just a minute. Veterans' health concerns is one of the issues that she spends a lot of time on. She also reported that in California we have 112 community colleges serving over 44,000 veterans. In Orange County, we have 9 community colleges serving about 10,000 veterans. And she also kind of bragged for a few minutes, and she says our 2 colleges, Saddleback College and Irvine Valley Colleges, have programs in serving the veterans. And she says that we have 2 of the best veterans centers in California. So we should be proud of that at both Saddleback College and IVC. Finally, she suggested that we do 2 things. One is make sure we have no veterans who go homeless, and second, buy a veteran a meal. And I thought that was wonderful. And it's an idea that I'm going to do. If I see a veteran, let's take him to dinner, buy him a meal. They would appreciate that. They've done an awful lot for us. As most of you know, my heart goes out to the veterans. Finally, I wanted to just remind you that coming up here at Saddleback College, they have a science lecture series on Friday, September the 5th at 10 a.m. in the morning. A person is coming. Her name is Susan Marie Franczat, and she's going to be bringing to life the dramatization of the life of Marie Curie. Wow. I've heard that, and she is absolutely outstanding. You get an idea of about Marie Curie. She actually plays her role, and it's going to be held in McKinney Theater starting at 10 o'clock. I would recommend that anyone go. It is absolutely superb. Thank you. I'm over, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you. I will leave discussion of opening sessions and such to my colleagues, as Trustee Wright mentioned, in order to not go over the 2 minutes here. I had a kind of a surprise encounter at the Orange County Fair, where I was going through the exhibits, and after purchasing the Ultimate Showerhead and the bag clips, ran into the Saddleback College booth that they had set up there, and it was really neat. I talked to the student volunteer that was working the booth, and it was really, really kind of surprising to see them there, and I hope it was successful and worth the the fee I'm sure we had to pay to have a booth there, but it was neat to see that. I also, for those of you who aren't aware, accepted the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge from Dr. Glenn Roquemore, and I think is the video up on the web somewhere? Oh, great. So then I in turn challenged our K through 12 partners in the Tustin Unified School District, Superintendent Dr. Greg Franklin and Board President James Laird, and I got responses that they were both accepting the challenge. So as we know, for those of you who have been paying attention, it is for a very good cause. In Tustin Unified, we had 2 of our colleagues stricken with that within a 3-year period. So it was a very personal issue for many of us who knew them well. And then, like I said, I'll leave the rest to the rest of the board. However, I do want to highlight what was mentioned, that we are not calling it Flex Week anymore. We were calling it Professional Development Week, so that most of us will know what the heck it is. So I'm really happy to hear that. Trustee Milchiker.
Great, and I saw many of my colleagues at many of the events of Professional Development Week. I was going to mention that the new name is Professional Development Week. Prior to that, it was Flex Week, which is, of course, because of the flexible calendar, but people thought it was some kind of an exercise in flexibility or something, but it wasn't. And prior to that, it was in service, whatever that means. So the new name is much better, Professional Development Week. So I went to as many of the events as I could have at both colleges. On Tuesday, in taking with the Student Success Summit that they had at Irvine Valley College, and they thought it was so wonderful to have both the colleges work together. Most of the day was at Irvine Valley College, and both colleges got to meet together at Irvine Valley College. And as my colleague, Trustee Wright, said, at the Chancellor's opening session, the statewide Chancellor, Bryce Harris, spoke and was very good, talking about the Student Success Act of 2012, which is affecting all of us in so many ways right now. And so I'll mention a few things that I attended, and try not to go over the time, so I'll just read them off, okay? So I went to the Faculty Association Luncheon, which was very good and enjoyed by all. Student Success in the Cross-Cultural Classroom, the HR Financial Software System Project, the Geek Report, the waitlists are over. 10% of the faculty right now are kind of doing a beta testing of the wait lists, and hopefully it'll kick in for all the faculty if they want to have it for their classes starting in January. It's optional for people if they would like to have it. It sounds very exciting to me, though. I went to the Saddleback College President's opening session and faculty breakfast, the Student Success Committee kickoff, the new state registration mandates, which are the Student Success Task Force 2012. There are lots of new mandates. Social media at Irvine Valley College, Is It Right for You? IT Training Hub, SharePoint Forums, MS Office 2013, and the Irvine Valley College Classified Senate Breakfast. And my time is over now, but it was very enjoyable, and I got to meet so many colleagues and professional people that were being developed that week. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Jamal.
So I, too, attended a number of the events, the Chancellor's opening session, the A400 dedication, and then President Burnett's breakfast at Saddleback College. Trustee Wright mentioned Bryce Harris, I think. I don't know how he is a manager, but he's a darn good speaker, and he delivered a very effective presentation. So it seems that our leadership at Sacramento is in good hands right now. And whoever invited him down here, kudos to that. It was very, very well done. Our Chancellor. And happy birthday, by the way, Chancellor Portner. Last week, before that, I had an opportunity to meet with, at my request, Vice Chancellor Fitzsimmons, Chancellor Portner, and Kim McCord to talk about the OPEB Trust, the genesis of it, long-term prognosis of it, rationale for it, and I appreciated that very much. I have to say, I have some concerns about the long-term viability of such a fund, I think whether it's an issue we tackle going forward, I don't know, but we may have to at some point. But I appreciated the update nevertheless. Last week, I did attend the Saddleback Foundation or portions of the retreat or board planning session. And I want to say that we really owe a great deal of thanks to those volunteer leaders of our foundation boards, both at Saddleback College and Irvine Valley College. I mean, I only attended, I think, the afternoon session for 2 or 3 hours. They were there all day, working away at it, and it's such an important augmentation to what we do as a board here, what they do at the foundation levels. And on behalf of the board here, we really thank you, the entire boards, both at IVC and Saddleback College, for their work, great work that you're doing. Thank you very much.
All right. Trustee Jay?
Yes, I had the usual trouble that you have the first couple weeks on any of the campuses. I think I've never seen more people here in this first week and second week. I'm eagerly awaiting enrollment figures from Todd Barnett, from Glenn Roquemore, and from Randy Peoples from our 3 campuses. Thank you.
All right. Student Trustee Carrillo.
So I attended several events. One of them was the Chancellor's opening session. And it seems to me that State Chancellor Bryce Harris was a very smart guy. He knows how to speak well, and he really got me to think. And, I think we're headed in the right direction. I think our colleges are headed there, and I'm really proud. I also went to the A400 groundbreaking. It was very exciting to see a new building at IVC. It's a new building for a long time now, and I think that this is going to be a good building for the generations to come. And it'll really serve IVC well for the students. I also went to the welcome week for the ASIVC student body, and it was very successful. We were handing out pizza to people, and we kind of introducing them to IVC, welcoming them, to this new campus because they're freshmen. They're coming from high school, and they're new at this, so it's new to everybody, including me. It's a new semester, so I hope it goes well. Thank you.
Great, Chancellor Portner.
The comments that I was going to make have been adequately covered by everybody already. It's bad when you go last. But I would say that I really appreciated Chancellor Harris accepting my invitation to speak at the opening session. It was a great opportunity for faculty and staff to see the State Chancellor in person and to hear what he has to say. Secondly, I also was at the event where Nancy Montgomery was honored, and I want to extend my congratulations to her, and also to thank all of our staff who work so hard to serve our student veterans.
All right, thank you. College presidents' reports. President Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. President. As customary, we'd like to introduce to the board and to the public 3 of our new members of our Saddleback College management team. So I'm thrilled tonight to introduce 3 recent members. First, if you haven't met him yet, our new operations lieutenant in campus police, Pat Higa. Pat, wave your hand. Where is he? There he is. Second, our new Dean of Advanced Technology and Applied Science Division, Dr. Gina LaMonica. Wave your hand, Gina. And then finally, our new director of the Emeritus Institute, Dan Predal. Dan. Thank you. You'll see much more of them, of course, in the coming years. It has been a great start of the first semester, as many of you had noticed. I wanted to thank very much to all of our faculty, staff, and management at our college and district services for making this a wonderfully smooth semester already. A special thanks, if you haven't noticed, we have a few new parking spaces out there. So I want to particularly thank our facilities department that it actually has added over 320 new spaces. At the same time, we didn't know it, but we've done it. We've actually helped the environment and help water conservation, in fact, because we took out grass to make these lots. So there's a double purpose. With that, thank you all for your contributions to Professional Development Week. It was a smashing success. And once again, thanks to our Academic Senate and all of our faculty, staff, and management for that. As you know, on the agenda tonight, you'll be hearing annual reports from both our college foundations. And I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize and thank publicly a phenomenal leader for our foundation, has been for several years, and that's our president of our foundation, Jim Leach. Thank you, Jim Leach, and all the other Board of Governors. And of course, the support of this board, support of all of our faculty, staff, management, and our community of our foundation, which, as one of the trustees just mentioned, is a critical element of our mission. Thank you.
Okay. President
Well,
Roquemore.
as it follows, I'll be short because mine has been given also. But yes, just quickly on the 2 opening sessions, I thought that they fit together very well. We got to hear the federal perspective on student success, and then it was very refreshing to hear that echoed by the state chancellor. So it's all coming together nicely as a unified effort. And thank you for coming to the very brief groundbreaking. It was intended to be that. It was intended really to honor all of you, and thank you for allowing us to have that building go forward. Trustee Jay, I made a note here because I had a hunch that you were going to ask that. So I have some good data here. The weekly student contact hours are up by 1.5%. We're still down a handful of head count because of the way we're going through priority registration. And so basically our emeritus classes are still continuing to enroll, but so are the other courses up until September 1st, so those will fill in. So we're looking at being slightly ahead this semester and this year. So as far as the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge goes, it all started with our very own, I don't know if he's down so far, I think I see him down there. Our ASIVC president challenged me first, and so we both got the ice at the same occasion there. Pretty chilly day, even though it was 90 degrees outside. And then I went on to challenge our board president, as he has mentioned, but also Saddleback College president right here. So the challenges go on, and but it's for a very, very good cause. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And next, our Associated Student Governments. I guess we'll start with Saddleback College.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. So I'd just like to start off by saying that we have our entire crew together this year. We started filling our positions really early, and we got to have a full retreat this past week. We went to our UCI for their ropes course. It was a great bonding experience. We were all scared out of our pants. It was very high. And before that, we also had like a strategic planning workshop at our school, planning for the year, teaching everyone the procedures, whatnot. It was a great experience, and Safar had the chance to stop by as well. I also had the pleasure of going to the Board of Governors retreat, and I saw Trustee Jamal there. Thank you, Jim Leach, and the whole gang for what they do. It's so awesome that we have such great support and people who are so committed to student success. We're so grateful. And further, I had a really hard time finding parking when I was here, but I had the pleasure of parking in a staff spot because of the awesome work that Christopher Wilkins and Vice President Carol Hilton have done on the parking committee this year. It's been so phenomenal being able to tell students you can park in a staff spot. Their face just lights up. It's great. And we're just going to keep pushing. We have our Student Success Committee. We have a student rep going to their next meeting, and then also all the other campus-wide committees that we get to participate in. So thank you for valuing our input.
Thank you. ASIVC.
Thank you, Sarvi. On August 7th, I and along with the 2 ASIVC officers and also student trustee attended the 67th Annual National Student Congress that was hosted by United States Student Association at IVC. The National Student Congress was a 6-day exciting program that was consisted of conferences and student leadership workshops. We also had a number of distinguished guest speakers, including Congressman Mark Takano. They all talked about the student success and also how to make higher education more accessible to a general population. And today we hosted our first successful Welcome Week event. We had a large number of students to come and attend and take part of our activities. So thank you very much, Student Trustee Keith Karila, for attending it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. No board requests for reports.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Can I interrupt for 1 second to continue one of his reports? Certainly. I just want to let the board know and everybody else know what Sarvi meant was students can park in staff parking after 5 p.m.
Oh.
That's what she meant. I just didn't want
I
all
was
the
going to
students
say
out there now.
that's a coup right there.
Everybody was laughing at me.
After
That's
5.
what you meant, right? Sorry.
Got it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we want to get that right on the record. All right. No discussion items this evening. So we'll move on to the consent calendar. Before we move on the consent calendar, do I have any polls? Yes, Trustee Jamal.
5.4.
5.4. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I had one. All right. We have a motion to approve the consent calendar with the exception of item 5.4. All those in favor, or actually go ahead and take the vote. Absent? I'm not absent. It's the other one that starts with P. Do we need to redo that?
This is correct.
Oh.
Well, it has Nancy as a yes vote.
It's got Nancy as a yes and me as absent.
So they...
Okay. I guess I've been usurped. Okay. I guess so. I don't know if it's controversial. I won't have to take the hit. All right, we'll try again. Oh, that. All right, it's going to be a fun night.
I think
I'm out.
It's swapped. TJ, vote
Here
from
comes
her.
IT.
Vote
Yeah,
for
I'll
hers.
just vote over here. Let's try that again. Or wait.
Sorry, folks. 1 second here. We'll have this back.
I guess it was technical difficulty.
Anybody else hear Jeopardy music in their head?
Good thing it was
not
unanimous
just me.
voters. Be real tense.
Let's try it again and see if it.
Voice vote.
Sorry, folks. 1 second.
Not a problem.
There we go. Okay. Let's try it one more time.
All right, try one more time.
Oh, here, yeah.
Mine's not even lighting up now.
No.
We can do voice
Neither is
vote.
Padberg or
Oh,
Prendergast,
I'm
isn't
just going to vote over here.
We can do voice
Neither-
votes.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, you got it.
But it's wrong down there.
That's really weird. I don't know why it's doing that.
Here, let me just switch some wires. I can be techie.
Let's try it one more time. You guys one more time.
What? Mine's not lit up, so.
Okay. This should.
Hey, I have lights. Nancy does not. That's a good start. We're good.
There we go.
All right.
All right.
So we have
Good job.
6 yes votes, 1 absent, and 1 student advisory yes vote. Motion passes. So 5.4, Trustee Jamal, would you like to
This is
speak?
just more of a positive comment. I guess the IVC received a $200,000 grant from Deputy Sector Navigator Grant in Energy Efficiency and Utilities from the Chancellor's Office, which I think is fantastic. My question was in here, you talked about identifying gaps in workforce knowledge and education and training to connect community college curricula to industry workforce needs. Everything that I support. But is this related only to what's happening at IVC, or is ATEP part of this as well?
Well, it's broader than that. And so there is a statewide sector navigator, And then there are more regional sector navigator in certain areas. That's where the word sector comes from. And so Professor Robert Shaboya is the sector navigator, as you read here, for energy and utilities. And so what he does is he works with the entire region in terms of solving these issues and trying to fill the gap and determine how the curriculum is working. It fits nicely into the movement toward regionalization, so it definitely coordinates with all colleges throughout Orange County. And this will be his second year. It's a renewal in that role. So ATEP, of course, will fall into that as well. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, good. So I was afraid you were wanting to give the money back. Okay, so I guess we need a motion on 5.4.
Second.
All right, so a motion to approve and a second by Trustee Jamal, motion by Trustee Jay. We'll go ahead and vote on the item. We have 6 yes votes, 1 student advisory yes vote, 1 trustee absent. Moving on to 6.1. These items I need motions and seconds on.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Trustee Jamal, second from Trustee Trustee Milchiker. We just keep wanting to make sure she's here. For the adopting the budget, but we need to get a presentation on that before we vote.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Deborah Fitzsimmons, and I won't be giving the budget presentation tonight for adopted budget. I'm getting over some illness here, and I can't quite do a presentation this evening. So we're going to have Kim McCord, who's the Executive Director of Fiscal Services, provide the budget presentation for the district. But before we do that, I'd like to recognize some very important people in the audience who have done phenomenal work on the budget up to this point, and that would be Carol Hilton and Davit Kachatrian. Their office does a bulk of the work on the operational budget, so thank you very much. And also thank you to the vice presidents and to both presidents working together to get this budget put together in such a way through their college processes that it comes to this point today. So with that, I'll give you Kim.
2 sentences, you're already out of breath. All right. First and foremost, we still always stick with our board philosophy when we build our budget. So that's that we want to ensure the wise and prudent use of our public resources, promote the financial strength. Oh, somebody turned on an automatic thing there. Sorry about that. Promote the financial strength and stability of the district and maximize our educational opportunities for students. So our overall budget, our general fund has $269.5 million, and of that, the unrestricted, our operating budget, is $234.6 million. So that's the largest one I think we've had to date. I'm sorry about that. The restricted fund is $34.9 million, and that's all of our grants. I'm going to try to stop that from doing that. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Let's see if I can. Let me just, do you mind if I end it? Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Hopefully we'll be on track now. Okay. The other funds have $386 million, so that's all of the biggest chunk being our capital outlay, basic aid projects, and our retiree trust fund, and then the smaller funds, community education and child development. We did this time a comparison from prior year, the adopted budget last year, where we had expenditures last year, and then the current adopted budget. Oh, and this is the wrong slide. Sorry about that. We're still going to have some fun here. Sorry about that. Some significant changes. The federal revenue is much higher than it was last year. This is because we have the career grant. The TACT grant is quite a large federal grant, so that accounts for the large increase there. State revenue is up because the state did allocate quite a bit more for our categorical apportionments. The state-funded equipment and physical plant money was a large increase, $3.2 million this year. And, of course, the student success dollars went up quite a bit as well. Local revenue is just up, mostly from our property taxes and a little bit from non-resident tuition. On the expense side, we see typical increases in the salaries for step and column, the new faculty and classified staff we've hired. The benefits are mostly from the increase in our health and welfare costs and the retirement costs. The large increase in capital outlay is related to the state-funded equipment money that we got that's budgeted there. And the transfers, of course, are our basic aid transfers, the biggest chunk of that, and we did increase the amount this year. But overall, the budget is very solid, and everything's improved since last year. So here's just some detail of the changes since our tentative budget that you approved in June. The ending balance from last year increased $4.4 million, so everybody had a little extra money than they anticipated. The unrestricted revenue increased, as I said, because property taxes came in higher at the very end, and our lottery revenue and non-resident tuition estimates are increased. And our restricted funds from those grants that I mentioned, those came in with the state budget higher than we anticipated. Some other changes, salary and benefits. We did get a state COLA of 0.85%, and that's been included in the salary schedules for classified POA administrators and managers. The faculty are still in negotiations, so that will be added when they're done with that. The STRS, we did get notification, we reported on this last time, that we will have progressive increases in our STRS rate. So we had 8.25 in tentative, and now it's confirmed at 8.88%. And our employee benefits, the health and welfare package, increased 5.9%. We had estimated about 9, which is the trend from our provider, but we actually come in below trend, so that was really good.
Great.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And one more thing is we did look back at the trend for the benefit costs increase over the last 5 years, and it was just over 30%. So you can see that number is going up really fast, faster than anything else. Some other changes from tentative budget, our general expense category. These are expenses that come off the top. So we had a reduction in our IT maintenance agreements. Those we had estimated most of them to have a slight increase. And several of them, we actually got the actual renewals, and so that cost is down. We also had some IT projects that were approved, and we expected them to be closed out, but they're still not complete, so we did carry the funds over for that. And our phone system maintenance, we had a slight increase of $10,000. On our Proposition 30 EPA funds, so every year we need the board to approve how we spend those funds, so we include it as a slide in the presentation. We are estimating $2.8 million, and that's based on $100 per FTES that we receive. So that is up from tentative budget. I think we didn't have our FTES figures solidified, but now that our targets are set, we're basing this revenue on that estimate. And we always budget them for part-time faculty, salary, and benefits because those are funds that are going to go away, and we want to make sure we don't commit them for ongoing costs. And the final expenses will be reported as part of our 311, and we will post that to our website as required. Basic aid funds. So the balance at July 1st, we estimated was $16 million. It actually ended at $18 million, and that is the additional property tax we received at the end of the year. So the receipts, because the property taxes are higher, our receipts also went up over $2 million. The total pot that we have available was 55 at tentative budget, and now it's 60 million, so a bigger pot there. After our contingency of 20%, and the 47 million that we approved at the June meeting, we have $4.5 million that's unallocated. So those will remain there. If there's an emergency or something that comes up in the year, we do have some resources there that are available. And if not used, they'll just add to next year's pot, and we'll have a bigger pot to allocate then for next year. Looking ahead, as our costs increase and the demands for our programs and services increase, and the income is not increasing at the same rate, that creates challenges for us. Some of the areas where they have increased, is the STRS and PERS, our retirement system rates. I know we covered that at tentative, but I just wanted to remind you that from now until 2021, the STRS will go from the 8.88% you saw up to 19.1% of salaries, and PERS that is now at 11.71% will be 20.4%. So in the 6 years after this next year, we're going to see significant increases, and our estimate is about $10 million a year that will cost. So to keep that in mind as we go forward. And we are still continuing to be strategic in how we plan to spend our funds and to link our planning to our resource allocation. Any questions?
Any requests to speak? Okay, Trustee Lang.
Yes, thank you. I was hoping that somebody, whether that's Kim or somebody else, Brandy, I don't know who, might review for us the major new basic aid projects that are included on the list for this year. And by major, I'd say $500,000 or more. I mean, I see them listed. I don't have a lot of information about what they are.
All right. So if you turn to the budget book, in your budget packet, it is Exhibit A,
pages 22
page
and 23.
22 and 23. That's exactly right. And I'll ask Brandy to come up. They're organized by category. The first category is the long-term obligations, and that's basically our insurance deductibles, legislative advocacy, and Board of Trustee election. Those total $575,000 in entirety. Then we have our capital projects, and I'm going to have Brandy sort of go over the major project list.
And again, I'm just interested in the new ones, not the ones that are
These are the
carryovers.
new ones, yes.
Well, no, they're not all the new ones.
The one on page...
You've got a number that are indicated augmentation to existing projects. I'm not necessarily interested in those.
Okay, so you want changes since tentative is what you're asking
Yes,
him?
thank you.
Oh, since tentative?
Nothing has changed since tentative.
The ones that weren't asterisked as being augmentations, really, the ones that were indicated to be new projects, I think.
Yes, so new monies have been provided to these projects. Over at IVC, the A200 Student Services Center, it's a renovation project across the quad from the groundbreaking ceremony that we attended the other day. The next one is IVC B200 Rebuild Classroom Wing and Labs. The next one is B400 Life Science Labs and Entrance Controls. That's a little modification to the new building that we have over there at IVC. Then there's the scheduled maintenance project, the B100 roof and HVAC maintenance. We're going to skip a couple on your list there with the stars. That's money added to existing projects and move down to the...
And I was going to cut you some slack and say just do everything $500,000 or more.
Okay. So let's see now. I have to look at numbers. No, I'm teasing you. Athletic stadium renovation. This is something we talked about a few months ago, and that's for the design of the athletic stadium. The cogen plant here at Saddleback is going to be upgraded, and the digital security access is related to the sciences, the new sciences building that we have in construction right now, so that it will have card key access into that building for security. And I think I might be there. Yes, I'm there.
I think that's it. Oh, yeah, I think there was one on the next page two others for $950,000 and $600,000.
Perhaps you're referencing the IT projects that we have.
Yes.
Yes. So that would be the server storage maintenance for $950,000, and then the student information system. Is that how you guys say SIS? Is that what that stands for, Dr. Bermucci? Yeah. The enhancement and electronic refunds.
What is that exactly?
I will defer to Dr. Bermucci on that one.
Thank you.
This money is prioritized for maintenance and new features. Examples of that include mandates from the state, such as the prioritization, the amount of times you can retake classes, as well as a list of features that have been prioritized by personnel at the colleges.
Thank you.
So the item 5.9 in the agenda was a budget amendment. So did we just amend a budget that we haven't approved yet, or is this okay? What is that $353,000?
That's for the prior year because we
Okay.
finished closing our books in July. So all the final transfers we did, we're just bringing them to you now.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Trustee Wright.
Just one quick question. How much of our budget is for salaries and benefits?
Go ahead.
The total dollars in their general fund is about $155 million.
Okay. And of the budget, how much percentage is that?
When we look overall and we try to take out the basic aid because that kind of can skew the number,
Sure.
it's 85.1%,
Okay.
which is in a good range.
Good.
District-wide, 85%? Okay. There was a different number last month in your presentation.
If you take a look at page 15 and 16 in the budget book, you can see that district-wide, eliminating basic aid funds out of it and reserves, it's 85.1%. If you want to look at the individual sites, Saddleback College is 87%, Irvine Valley College is 86.5%, and district services 86.9%.
Okay, I know I teach social studies, not math, but all three of those numbers were higher than 85.
In the district-wide number, we took out the basic aid and reserves out of our number.
Okay.
And the general expenses that come off the top, and those are typically non-instruction
Okay. Thank you.
salaries.
And see no other requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item.
Wait, I did one
Oh,
other.
I'm sorry. Didn't see it. Trustee Lang?
Yeah, sorry. I just quick question on Exhibit A, page 15 of 38. Just real quickly, in that the pie chart on the first half of the page, should that 18% basic aid be 2014-15?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It should. Thank you very much. That's a good catch. We'll make that change before we publicize the book.
Okay. Seeing no other requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. All right. 6 yes votes, 1 trustee absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. Thank you. 6.2. These are the student government adopted budgets. We have a presentation on those.
We have a presentation.
Do you want to move on the item?
I think that you've had the presentation, then we'll do the motion. I kind of did it backwards last time.
Hi, everyone. I'm Audra. I'm the Director of Student Life, and this is my 7th year here, and I don't usually present the students. This is their amazing, unique opportunity to present to all of you. But I wanted to take just a moment to thank you all and to thank this district for what you do for our students. This particular example of what we do here with the Associated Student Government or the Associated Students of IVC is really, really unique. I have worked in the university system. I've worked at Columbia University, Arizona State, UCLA, and many others. And I have to say that what the students get to do here at our colleges is it's something to be treasured. It is so unique that they have the opportunity to truly work on and control this real microcosm of a nonprofit or a business, the way that they serve students, the way that they have their hands on these materials, the way that they have to develop their life skills. their focus on developing their teams. It is the most unique experience that I've seen as an educator. You don't have to do it. This district did not have to make that choice. It's something that the students could participate in the governance of these colleges just by being students here, but you choose to not just have an associated student government, but to allow them to present their budgets to you all. Most colleges actually don't get that opportunity in the way that we have it here. And you give them the chance to really wrestle with true issues and challenges. And that's the only way our kids are going to grow. Our young people here will grow by having access to experiences like this tonight. And I want to thank you for helping us challenge them to be the next generation of change makers. So tonight we have Sarvi and Kian presenting the ASG budget.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Chancellor. I am Sarvi Palavan. I'm the 2014-2015 Associated Student Government of Saddleback College President. With me I have...
I am Kian Rahim-Najad. I am the 2014-2015 Saddleback College Director of the Budget and Finance Committee.
I have the pleasure of standing before you again, this time to present our final budget for ASG. From the last time we spoke, a lot has changed. We have had to adjust the tentative budget we presented in June to accommodate a cut of over $100,000. Our beginning fund balance was lower than expected and was reduced to about $60,000. This is because of our reduced student bookstore revenue from last year and because of the areas the ASG allocated grants to and how wisely they have spent their funds. To ensure that our funds are spent to benefit students each year, it is generally our goal to have a lower beginning fund balance. In addition to the reduction of the beginning fund balance, there is a $40,000 reduction in the funding we receive from the student bookstore due to their significantly decreased revenue. We have expected this as students often look off campus for affordable books. As a result, our total use of funds has likewise decreased for our adopted budget. We reduced our funding to all areas across the board, as you can see, including for student scholarships, but the total amount of $75,000 still remains a large portion of our budget size. Due to our innovative partnership with the Saddleback College Foundation, we actually turned $40,000 of that into $80,000 through our unique challenge grant, which definitely shows that we use our funds for the extra mile. For our students. We pride ourselves on funding only programs that support student success, so we have worked very hard to ensure that our budgets are reduced as necessary while they still maintain the funding for essential programs.
So, due to our lowered beginning fund balance that Sarvi talked about earlier, we have made a priority this year on ASG to fundraise through our Gotcho stamp sales. We have increased our predicted sales for the Gotcho stamp this year by $5,000 from last year's sales to a total of $70,000 in revenue. We have already begun developing strategies to market the ASB stamp and incorporate it into all ASG campus activities and make it an essential for every Saddleback College student. Our removed funding from mid-year allocations remains the same. The late funding leaves little time for grant spending and constrains the success of programs and what they achieve. Instead, we have decided to allocate $20,000 to co-curricular programs that will be distributed at the beginning of the fall semester to programs with a clear plan of action, resulting in student success. We have, as before, left 7.5% of our subtotal projected revenue for the emergency reserve. That figure has dropped to $21,829 for this year.
Thank you. As anything in life, our struggles make us stronger. This turn in events regarding the security of our budget has made us realize how important it is to be self-sufficient. This year on ASG, it will be of utmost importance to promote the benefits of the ASB stamp. We will strive to exceed our projected sales this year and set a new bar for campus spirit and support. We will do more with less, and all of the students involved in the learning process will grow because of it. Of course, the profits from the ASB stamp will be used to directly benefit the student body through various events, programs, and activities. In line with ASG's mission, division-run student success initiatives are continually funded by our budget as well. The remarkable work of our Veterans, Honors, Interclub, and Diversity Student Councils has laid the necessary groundwork to establish a community for students. With an active presence on campus, numerous integration and engagement opportunities, and spreading the simple pleasure of making a friend, these councils continue to work hard to expand their reach and inspire many. ASG is currently working on numerous programs to engage student leaders on campus. We are taking innovative steps to increase campus life opportunities and gain student feedback through peer-to-peer mentorship, division ambassadors, and campus-wide surveys. Finally, we are supporting our school's goal in K-12 partnership and preparing high school students for college early. Through creative student-run programs, we seek to engage high schoolers in leadership development, the college transition, and keeping Saddleback College as the first choice. Our outlets for leadership and development, as well as our support for the student body, would not be possible without the guidance of our advisors. Thank you for your time and continuing to value the student input and prioritizing student success. You play a vital role in making a beautiful future. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
I have a request to speak from Trustee Jamal.
Thank you. Thank you for excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Nice job. I just had a question. Maybe it was obvious. I think mothers may have wanted to ask. The reduction in the bookstore revenue, you mentioned that it was the reason for that is students seeking off-campus prices at reduced rates. Is it that, or is it a reduction in the number of students, or some combination?
It's probably some combination. As you all know, our enrollment has been down this year, so I assume that had a significant effect. But I think that this figure was also, as of last year, their revenue had dropped. So I think this is a pattern that we're experiencing throughout the years to come as well.
Anyone from the college want to add to that, or is that that's it? Yeah.
We've been seeing this coming for a while now, and so we've been preparing both the student government and our divisions that rely on our support for the decrease in bookstore revenue. Our bookstore is wonderful. We've got an amazing staff, we have an amazing contract, but they do have a challenge space. So as we move into the future of this gateway building, hopefully we'll be able to expand the bookstore space. Our bookstore has tremendous potential, and if we could, in fact, open up the space, it's very difficult to merchandise in that space. It's very difficult to provide, the modern bookstore experience. Like, students want to have coffee in the middle of getting their books, and they want to go and, get the list and buy tons of supplies. We don't have the room to have an experience because it's pretty much filled with lines. It's one of the smallest bookstores that our bookstore provider actually administers for the size of the population. So hopefully we'll correct that in a number of years, but the students are looking at what they can do at this point and how they're empowered to grow their programs on campus. So does that cover it?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Trustee Lang.
Yes, I wanted to also congratulate both students on a fine presentation of the budget. I think you both did a terrific job. I guess my one question that I had was in the 2013 and 14 adopted budget, you had broken out in much greater specificity some of the subcategories under the general categories, but you didn't do that in 2014 and 15. Was wondering why, because it seemed to me if you had to cut back on a category, to either cut back or augment a particular category, you'd want to know which one to supplement of the different activities that you were supporting, and just wasn't sure how you would do that without having that information there.
Are you speaking about the division allocations for the?
No. For example, under on page 5 of 8, Exhibit A, page 5 of 8, I'm looking at fine arts, and I'm seeing 10 different items.
Oh, I see.
All of which have amounts in the 2013-14 column, but not in the 14-15 column.
Right. So we've actually given them until the beginning of October to accept their grant allocations to see if there is a need, and also present us with a line or a list of line items for their spending.
So that information is still to come.
Yes, definitely.
Right. Student Trustee Carrillo.
So first of all, I'd like to applaud you for keeping your co-curricular fund up. I think that's good, always keeping the students first, and I'm very happy for that. Congratulations on your presentation. I think it's a very thorough presentation. It's very well looked at, and I see that you guys really thought about this. Even with your bookstore problems, you guys kind of managed your money. The only thing that concerns me, and it's kind of like a thing that I'm sure concerns most students, is it's the scholarships. So I see that there was a huge drop in the scholarships, and I was wondering what we can do to kind of prevent that in the future. So that's it.
Our allocations to the scholarships, we try to keep the cut as modest as possible because just like you, we do value student scholarships a lot. In terms of bringing up that value, the $75,000 is distributed, a portion of it, like I said, the $40,000 to the foundation. So we have a match program through that. We could hopefully be able to add more as our funding goes up throughout the years of our beginning fund balance. But as of right now, that's kind of what we have. We can definitely work on student initiatives to raise awareness about scholarships and draw in fundraisers. So hopefully our involvement with the foundation will be a little bit greater this year and for years to come.
Thank you.
Trustee Wright.
My question probably will be maybe can be answered by IVC also when they present. But I was noticing your revenue from bookstores and cafeteria dropped $44,000, and theirs increased $40,000. So I'm wondering why the difference. Why did yours drop 44 and theirs increased?
I think that it's probably relevant to the different enrollment statuses that we have at the different schools. We have two different bookstores, so the traffic that it draws is a little bit different. It might also be that the material that they're serving at those bookstores may be found not elsewhere as the ones that we have to offer.
Okay, maybe IVC can comment on that too.
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no more requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, we have to have a motion.
Second. Trustee Jay.
See, I'm just in such a hurry to get out of here. We need to have IVCs first. Yeah, sorry. Clear that. Hold that thought.
Thank you for your time.
Split the item.
No,
Very much.
it's okay. It would be unprecedented to vote for
Good
one and
evening,
not the
President. Prendergast. Excuse me, President Prendergast, members of the board, Chancellor Portner. Happy to be here tonight. I'm Dennis Gordon, the acting director of Student Life. I wanted to just reiterate what Audra said about the support that you've provided for our students in working in their IVC budget. We had the opportunity this year not only to review the budget amongst all of the students, but we actually had each of the requesters, the faculty, staff, and administrators that are responsible for requesting funds from ASIVC actually come and make a presentation to the students so they gained a better understanding of the budget process and what we're going through. So this evening I'd like to introduce Robert Segura, who's our ASIVC treasurer, and he will present the final budget to you. And if you have any questions at the end. By the way, I will address the issue about the bookstore because we brought it up in our preliminary budget. The fact of the matter is we do have a new bookstore that was put in last year. We have a great working relationship both with the students and with Will Crawford, our bookstore manager. We have meetings on a monthly basis with the bookstore workforce, and we're doing lots of different things to increase the usage of the bookstore. And that's one of the reasons we, as Robert will tell you, not only did we increase our bookstore and cafeteria revenue, but it helped us increase our balance carry forward, which is a positive. So with that, I'll turn it over to Robert Segura, our treasurer.
Good evening. I'm Robert Segura, the ASIVC student treasurer, and I'm here to present our adopted budget for the year. All right. So after the district accounting end of the year adjustments were made, our beginning balance forward increased by $50,537, and our new total source funds is $575,500. To balance our budget, we made the following adjustments. In campus life, we allocated additional funds of about $4,000 for ASIVC events, clubs, and conferences. In ASIVC operations, we allocated additional funds of $9,537 for office supplies, student workers, contact services, equipment repairs, and office equipment. Anticipating additional mid-year requests, we increased the amount by $2,000. In student support, we allocated additional funding of $21,400. We increased the funding for each one of our student support programs. Some of the larger increases were for the Transfer Center, Honors Program, Senior Day, guest speakers, Student Success Summit, and our Veterans Center support. We increased our contingency reserve by $13,600. Our contingency reserve is now 10% of our revenue. Our adjustments increased uses of funds by $50,537. And our new total uses of funds is $575,537. Our revenue and expenses are balanced, and the ASIVC Budget Committee was able to provide a funding allocation amount to every organization and club that submitted a request. Next are our budget highlights. So our campus life is now $56,500. Our co-curricular program is at $235,000. Our ASIVC operations is at $113,837. Next, our scholarships stayed the same at $30,000. Our student support, we allocated $72,600. And our ASIVC operations is at $113,837. And our ASIVC goals and objectives have stayed the same. All right. Thank you. And any questions?
Yeah, I have a quick one. The amount you guys allocated for scholarships versus co-curricular programs in comparison to Saddleback's, and I know Saddleback has a lot more students, but just curious if you want to explain the process as a board or a group and how you determine how much you're going to give to scholarships and so forth, and just kind of maybe speak to that.
I'll be happy to. Typically, we've budgeted $30,000, which comes out of the ASIVC General Fund, but we also have an endowment with the foundation, which provides an additional $11,000 each year, which doesn't show up in this budget. One of the things we are going to do this year, since we had a large balance carry forward, is during the mid-year review, we'll take a look at the scholarship needs as we move forward, and we will probably allocate some additional funding as we get closer to scholarship time. At this point, we left the scholarship budget the same as it was.
Okay, thank you. Student Trustee Carrillo.
Hi. Hi, Robert. So I'm very proud of your budget. Like both colleges, you guys planned this very well, and I can see that. I'm very excited for this new year. With this new budget comes new help towards students, and I see that you guys are very involved with student life. You guys are bringing in more money for student life, and that's always a good thing. I see that $13,000 you said is in contingency, right? $13,000.
Yes.
So that's a very good thing. See, that's you said 10% increase. So it's always good to plan for the future, when we have our bad days, and I see it as a really good thing because we need to think ahead. And I applaud you guys for your budget. It's really good. I'm very impressed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing no more requests to speak, I will entertain a motion to. Second. All right. I have a motion from Trustee Jamal, second from Trustee Jay to adopt or to approve the student government adopted budgets. So we'll go ahead and vote on the item. All right, we have 6 trustees yes, 1 trustee absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. Okay, next we have 6.3. Is there any presentation or information on that? So I'll entertain a motion on 6.3. Motion from Trustee Wright, second from Trustee Lang. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. I have 6 yes votes, 1 absent, 1 student advisory yes. 6.4, no further information. I'll entertain a motion for 6.4. Motion from Trustee Jay. Second from Trustee Jamal. Seeing no request to speak, we'll vote on the item. Six yes votes, one trustee absent, one student advisory yes vote. 6.5.
Move approval.
Second.
Have a motion from Trustee Milchiker, second from Trustee Jamal. Seeing no request to speak, we'll vote on the item. 6 yes votes, one absent, one student advisory yes vote. 6.6.
Move approval.
I have a motion from Trustee Milchiker, second from Trustee Jamal. Request to speak from Trustee Wright.
Just one quick question here. It says it's the goal of this funds to support career pathways designed to lead students to post-secondary degrees or certificates in high skill, high wage, and high growth fields. Can you give us some examples of what those might be?
Sure. Actually, there's 3 sectors that specifically this deals with under the Orange County Career Pathways Partnership. First is manufacturing, advanced manufacturing. Okay. Second is healthcare fields. And third is information and communications. Okay. Did I get that right, Kathy? All right. So it's 3 sectors.
Good.
All right.
Move the item.
Seeing no more requests to speak. It's already been moved. No more requests to speak. Go ahead and vote on the item. Trustee Milchiker.
Nice. I'm sorry. Here.
6 yes votes, 1 absent, 1 student advisory yes. We'll go ahead and move to 6.7, academic calendar for 15-16.
So moved.
I have a motion from Trustee Jamal.
Second.
Second from Trustee Milchiker.
Anybody want to talk to?
Seeing no request to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. Oh, hold on. Back that up. Trustee Wright.
Just one comment here. Again, I have no problems with this with the fall semester. I think it's wonderful. Again, the spring semester, I am concerned. I'm probably going to vote yes for this calendar, but I still am concerned that maybe we don't start a week earlier. Think about doing that. And that solves about 4 problems. One, it takes care of the veterans. Also, it takes care of the nursing program. I wrote down just a couple of things that people have been telling me. Transfer students, for example, many of them now are finding they have to submit applications to transfer in January, as early as January or early February. And so this would give them another week to work with counselors and so forth to help them transfer. So that's a concern. And then finally, I still like a 12-week summer.
Okay. Anybody want to speak to that, or we've been down that road?
Tough.
Okay. Seeing no more requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote. 6 yes, 1 absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. 6.8. These are for discussion and approval, board policy revisions. Motion from Trustee Lang, second from Trustee Wright. Do I have any requests to speak? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the items. 6 yes, 1 absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. 6.9.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion from Trustee Milchiker, second from Trustee Lang. I'm sorry, from Trustee Jamal.
Oh, yeah.
And seeing no request to speak, we'll vote on the item. 6 yes, 1 absent, 1 student advisory yes. 6.10.
So moved. Second.
Motion from Trustee Jamal, second from Trustee Wright.
Right.
Okay. And I assume an abstention from Trustee Milchiker.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
Yes.
vote on the item.
Yes.
Trustee Lang. Okay, we have 5 yes, 1 abstention, 1 absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. 6.11,
Move approval.
Second.
motion from Trustee Milchiker, second from Trustee Jamal. I assume an abstention from Trustee Jay. Go ahead and vote on the item. And we have 5 yes, 1 abstention, 1 absent, and 1 student advisory yes vote. 6.12, academic personnel actions. Any changes or information? Okay. Motion from Trustee Jay.
Second.
Second from Trustee Milchiker. Any requests to speak? Seeing none, go ahead and vote on the item. 6 yes, 1 absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. 6.13, classified personnel actions.
We have one change on section E1 for Stephanie Alvarez underneath Exhibit A on page 8. We're going to put her at Irvine Valley College instead of Saddleback College.
One more time.
Yeah.
Our screens don't move that fast.
Okay, E1 on page 8 of 12 underneath Exhibit A. Stephanie Alvarez is actually going to be at Irvine Valley College, not Saddleback College.
Okay.
So
Glenn, you're all
strikes.
right with him stealing it? Or was it a typo? Okay. We'll go ahead and take a motion for 6.13.
Second.
Motion from Trustee Jamal, second from Trustee Milchiker. Trustee Lang.
Yes, I was hoping to get a little bit more information about items B1 and B2, of which there's also more detailed descriptive information regarding the new positions in the back, but just maybe some comments from the presidents or whoever regarding the thinking behind.
I'm sorry, which page and
This
which?
would be page 6 of 12, again, B1 and 2.
Exhibit B?
No, item. Wait, oh, I'm sorry. Maybe let me just see.
I think that's
Exhibit A?
page 6.
It was the lead human resources specialist and the manager of college fiscal
Got it.
services
All right.
positions.
It's 6 of 20 on the iPad, so that's why I was confused.
I could address B1.
Thank you.
Okay. In our office, we currently have somebody coordinating the equal employment opportunity officers for the district. And so we're shifting that duty from a temporary management position into a permanent classified position. So this used to be called once upon a time a senior HR specialist. We're changing the name to lead because we're adding that duty to it to make it a little bit different. So they'll be scheduling district-wide. We have a new program to try to move our recruitments faster, where equal employment officers, actually we use administrators and managers as well as a few faculty now to actually serve in that capacity on behalf of the district. So this person will be coordinating those duties.
I see.
To schedule them.
And not something that can be handled under the current complement of folks that we have.
It is. The position we currently have as a manager will go away, and this job will replace it. It'll be a
so that
classified
action
position.
would be a future action?
This position it'll be an internal recruitment, and we will not increase staff for that. It's just a position change.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And the manager for college fiscal services position, that's a temporary position to essentially assist IVC with the Workday project. This position would either attend the Workday configuration and planning meetings or allow me to attend by backfilling me during this 2-year period. And it's critical for successful implementation of the process at the college level.
Okay.
So is it temporary due to the nature of the job, or is it categorical funding, or is
It's temporary due to the nature of the job because within the 2-year period, we're hoping that Workday project will be all completed, and then the position after that 2-year period will be reevaluated at that point. If we want to institutionalize it at that point, that would become an issue at that point. But currently, the position is offered or requested as a 2-year limited term.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Trustee Wright.
First comment is that on 1A, it's the Division of Advanced Technology and Applied Science.
Which page again?
It's page 1A, Employment. Lillian Bodine. It just says Division of Technology. It's Advanced Technology. And then finally, on page 12, I just note 2 retirements. One is Michael Looney. The second is Russell Hamilton. Both good employees. We'll miss them.
All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion on the item. Oh, we already motioned it.
Yes,
No,
we
I'm
did.
sorry. We delayed for the discussion. All right. Go ahead and vote on the item. 6 yes, 1 absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. That concludes discussion or items. So now we have reports. Saddleback and Irvine Valley College Foundation's annual report. Are there any questions on that?
Excellent.
Are they doing a presentation?
They are doing a presentation.
I can't see that one. Greetings, President Prendergast, Board of Trustees, Chancellor Portner. Thank you so much for inviting us here tonight. Both of the college foundations have worked very hard together. My colleague and mentor and wonderful friend Don Rickner has been a wonderful mentor to me over the years before coming down here and while I've been here. And I think because of that, the foundations have a wonderful synergistic relationship, and we work together as well as anybody or as well as any other organizations within the district. And I see Todd shaking his head. So thank you for the opportunity from me personally to be here. It's an honor to work with Glenn Roquemore and the IVC Foundation. Tonight I'll introduce Bill Hewitt, who I think probably needs no introduction. Bill is our Vice President of our foundation. Tonight our foundation president, Ernest Hackman, had other obligations. So Bill, thank you.
You're going to show me how to work this a little bit, right? Just click. Good evening. I'm impressed with how quickly you moved the agenda. That's very good, TJ. Let me start out by saying that Irvine Valley College's foundation is moving very well. It has progressed, even though we're in the process of restructuring and recruiting new board members. We have successfully continued to raise the contributions, raise the net assets on an annual basis. And in fact, one of the things that was pointed out to me earlier was that Irvine Valley College is where Saddleback College was 3 years ago in terms of assets and income. So we've come quite a ways in the last few years. Let me show you some graphs. The first graph you'll see is actually the amount of income that's been increased in the net assets that have been increased since, 2007, 2008. And as of today, you'll see that our projected, now this is projected because we don't have the final audits yet, of $2,082,000, which is a significant increase from where we were 7 years ago. Let me go on to the next. Excuse me. As you can see in this pie chart, our contributions were $703,000. Events raised was $46,000. We've not focused on events in the last couple of years, and so what we're about to do is begin to reestablish our annual gala and our golf, and also the Astounding Inventions, which we continue to do on an annual basis.
Let's see. District support. I'd like to just bring your attention to this because that's a little misleading. The district support figure that you see there is actually a figure that includes 3 staff at Irvine Valley College, a portion of the contributions that staff at the district level provides support for us, allocation of space, as well as utilities. So it's a variety of different figures. It's not just dollars going directly to staff at Irvine Valley College's foundation. Let's see. This is just kind of an overview of what we've just reported to you earlier. The net change, though, the net change I think you'd see at the bottom. It's the beginning as of July 1, 2013, ending July 30 or June 30th, 2014. We've had a significant increase of nearly $230,000, if my math is correct. 300. Yeah.
320.
Huh? 300,000. Oh, 310,000. I have it right here in my notes. I should have known that. All right, next. What's interesting about the graph that you're about to see is that when you look at the amount of money that has been raised versus the amount of contribution that's coming from the district, you'll see that actually the net return on that investment versus the dollars expended is about 45%. So the amount of money that we've actually raised versus the amount of money that comes from a variety of sources, including district finance, including allocation of dollars for utilities, space allocation, a portion of our own fiscal office's budget, and so on and so forth. That's a pretty good investment. I'll go for 45% any day of the week, frankly. I wish I could get that on my portfolio, as a matter of fact. Also, the other thing that I think is interesting is the bottom chart will show you where our energy is being focused. And one of the major areas of interest for the faculty, for the foundation, is to support our students. And we're supporting our students in a variety of ways. But this particular graph shows you the amount of scholarships that have been awarded over the past 6 years. And we're up to $368,200. Here are some of the accomplishments that we've achieved in the past year that I think are worthy of note. $100,000 grant from the city of Irvine for scholarships and summer readiness programs per year for the next 3 years. $50,000 award from Wells Fargo for their Veterans Center, $25,000 in Edison for STEM scholarships and summer bridge programs, $15,000 in Veterans Leadership Academy. And I might point out that you'll see the theme that the foundation keeps coming back to, and that is veterans, access, and scholarships. And that's what our goal is to serve our students, to make our programs better, to strengthen our veterans services, and to make sure that students succeed. Let me see. That's it. Are there any? That went quicker than I thought. Are there any questions?
Trustee Jamal.
Excuse me. Thank you,
Trustee Jamal.
Thank you, Mr. Hewitt. Richard, thank you for your presentation. And for all that you're doing with the foundation. As I said in my earlier comments, it's so important that these foundations succeed because it helps students first and foremost. And I think you reflected that in your presentation. I had a question about one of the goals that I had heard at a recent, I think, board retreat, and I just wanted to know if you had any clarification on it. I noticed in the financials here we had about, minus the district support, which was about $500,000, that about $980,000 or so is being raised through a variety of fundraising efforts, events, and grants, and so forth. I've heard that there's a new ambitious goal. I just wanted some clarification on that in terms of where the foundation is going, and if you could explain that. Somewhere in the range of $5 million over the next 5 years, or $25 million within 10 years. I think for the board's education, it'd be helpful to learn more about that goal.
I thank you. I actually heard that for the very first time at the retreat. The board has not had a discussion on that matter. I believe that was a discussion that occurred between the president of the foundation and the president of the college in setting some goals for where they'd like to see the foundation go. Maybe I don't have the details. I'm sure that the foundation's board will be dealing with that, but perhaps maybe Glenn could share a little bit of information about where that arrived or where that came from. I was asked by the chair of the foundation where I thought we could go with our fundraising. And having been in the job for a while and living in Irvine for a very long time, I see gifts going to various organizations that equal the number that you're talking about, including the Irvine Unified School District. So to education, and of course UCI is in a league in its own, but it tells you something about the capacity for giving to public education in the region that we serve. And so in terms of answering that question, I simply matched what IUSD had received at an earlier grant. It's a reasonable target to shoot for. Part of that is intended to energize and set a goal that really gets some motivation going among the board, and beginning to work with those that have the capacity to give. And that's all it is. And Bill is correct. It has not been voted on or vetted through the board. It was brought up in the retreat, which was an appropriate place to begin the dialogue.
No, I appreciate it. I was at the retreat when the number came up. I just wanted to. I'm not sure. Was I clear on how? I'm not sure if I even described it correctly. The goal, in terms of, I'm not. What I was seeking is just some clarification, just so that we're clear on where you're going and can try to help as well.
Yeah, and again, it's a goal that will have to be adopted by the board as a whole. But the numbers that were thrown out at the retreat is $25 million over 5 years. So
the next 5 years, or 5 years from now,
it'll be at 25. So consecutive, leading to $25 million. That is five more than what IUSD got. They had $20 million over 5 years. So,
thank you.
Okay, I just had a question, and this will probably segue into the next presentation as well. I believe it was about a year ago. You came to us with a request to restructure, add more employees, and so forth in an effort to lead to more success. Is some of this increase, or I guess two parts, how has that been going, and is some of this increase attributed to that, or is it just other factors?
Let me make sure that I understand. Are you asking about an increase in staffing? I don't think that we've increased in 2 years, have we?
No. So when you came to us asking to be able to hire more people, that hasn't happened yet?
Correct.
It was just Saddleback. Oh, I thought it was both foundations. Okay.
If there's no other questions, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Nice to see you all.
Thank you. See, I said it would segue into the next one.
It was all there. What am I doing? It was all there.
Mr. President, members of the Board of Trustees, thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity. My name is Jim Leach. I'm the president of the Saddleback Foundation, and I appreciate being given a heads up on the question. What you're seeing here is a very quick picture. I want to congratulate our colleagues at IVC for their growth. We, too, have enjoyed some pretty significant growth, and if I knew how to be embarrassed by riches, I probably would be. For the fiscal year ending in June, the foundation had total assets of almost $8.5 million. That's up 268% over the past 5 years and up $1.2 million over last year. More than half of our revenue came from cash contributions, over $1.8 million. That's up nearly $250,000 over last year and up 66% over the previous 5 years. Our endowments have grown 520% over the last 5 years. That's the one that I always say sounds phony, but it isn't. This is our cash flow report, and it showed that we ended with over $1 million more than we started the year with. So we're very pleased with that performance. And we have some significant accomplishments here, but I'm not going to read them to you. I do want to highlight the fact, and this speaks to your question, Mr. President. We brought on Don Rickner as our executive director in January of 2012. Since that time, we've added a new full-time development director and secured 2 part-time positions in 2013. And as we've described, since that time, we've achieved some pretty remarkable successes. Gifts are up, and as a result, scholarships are up. We've reached out and been successful in securing gifts from major philanthropists and interests. We've found ways to care for students beyond their tuition and fee needs, and we continue to develop the board, which positions us for success going forward. These successes are directly related to our professional staff. Their experience and expertise is invaluable and critical to our success. It goes without saying, of course, none of this would be possible without the unflagging support of our college president, Dr. Burnett, and the loyal support of our board trustees, and especially Vice President Padberg, who we were privileged to have with us for a time at our annual retreat last Friday. Our board and all that we serve are grateful to you for all you do and to our staff. Here is a chart that I think sort of describes the value, again, getting back to your question, of our professional staff. I was told by a professional fundraising colleague a while back that if I needed to raise $50,000 and my choice were to create an event or find someone who had $50,000 and ask them for it, was best to ask. Having capable fundraising and development professionals is without a doubt the most cost-efficient way to accomplish our scholarship and college support goals. And you can see the comparison there between our very successful gala, which we enjoy and which we all have a wonderful time putting on, and at the same time being able to conduct face-to-face and to interact with individuals who have a heart for the college and a heart for students. With that, again, I would thank you on behalf of my colleagues for the opportunity to be here this evening and make this report. I'd be happy to entertain any questions you may have. I'm very hopeful that I've already answered them.
Student Trustee Correa.
So on behalf of all the students at Saddleback and Irvine Valley College, I give you my applause. I'll tell you that right now, for you and for you, Richard, and whoever helped you. Thank you very much. On behalf of all the students, I'm very proud of this foundation, both foundations. So thank you.
It's our privilege. Thank you very much.
Trustee Jamal.
Thank you, Jim. And it was great to see you on Friday and the rest of the board.
Yes,
great work. Two questions, I guess, as a result. I'm wondering, out of the Friday's meeting, because I left a little early before you went into actually the formal board session, but I mean, what do you see? Great progress, but what do you see as a significant challenge to get to the next level in terms of the foundation? And then number two, have you set any numerical goal like IVC might be doing with their foundation going forward?
The answer to your first question is that I think the success of our board, and perhaps any board, is finding the right individuals to join us on the board and to be able to move the foundation forward. That being said, we're involved in a fairly significant board development campaign, reaching out to individuals of means that have a heart for the college, that are interested in student success, and candidly, we're pretty choosy. we believe that those people are out there. We have not reached them all quite yet, but we are in that process. And Don, I don't know if we have. Have we set some sort of extraordinary financial goal, $1 bazillion or something?
Come on. Don, can you go to the mic? Yeah, and I was going to ask about the stadium as one of your goals and where you see that progress right now.
You know, our role in the stadium was to help communicate the need for the stadium to the community, and then we promised to raise $500,000 in its support, and that we still intend to do that. It'll be a little differently because if the district decides to support the primary construction costs, then we would look to do an enhancement of the stadium, perhaps the scoreboard or something like that. That would be a great place to have a naming opportunity, or and have a very attractive board that we might not otherwise have. So we've had discussions about that with Tony and others in the athletic department, but no decision's been made. But we're looking for that kind of a project in support of the stadium. No other particular goals have been set by number.
Okay, that was my follow-up. Okay.
Okay. No other requests to speak? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, 7.2, guest speakers. Any questions on that? Seeing none, we'll move on to 7.3, basic aid report. I assume most of that was covered in the budget presentation again. 7.4, facilities plan status report. Okay, 7.5. Oh, I'm sorry.
TJ.
Trustee Wright, 7.4,
I
facilities
just wanted to
plan
ask,
status
how's the science building coming along?
Thank you for asking the question. It's come along just great. We have had some challenges with the installation of the piles in the foundation. That's set us back about 40 days in the construction schedule. However, when we wrote the schedule, we recognized that there would be a need to provide for float, and so it will not impact the day that the students will first get to occupy the building. So we have overcome those challenges, and it's moving forward pretty smoothly now.
And what date is that?
Oh, gosh, off the top of my head, I don't remember the exact date, but I will get
December
that for you.
2015?
Right in there.
Okay.
16.
It's 16.
It says scheduled finish is December 2015.
You know what? I'll get back with you on that.
Okay. And then finally, how are the piles coming out? I understand there's still some that need to be repaired, or how are they repairing these piles?
It's pretty interesting, actually. So the challenge around the piles is that we put a cage in the ground in a hole, and then we pour concrete into that hole, and there's been some spaces, air gaps in that placement of concrete. So how do we fix those air gaps, especially when some of those piles are down some 60 feet or more, lots of feet deep? And so there's some challenges where they're at the very bottom. Those gaps are at the bottom. There's some challenges where the gaps are in the middle, and some challenges where the gaps are at the top. And each of the solutions are different. Fortunately, the Division of the State Architect, who is our authority having jurisdiction, has agreed to accept the fixes that Caltrans has developed over the years. They have a lot of pile installations, a lot more experience than community colleges or education facilities have. So DSA is accepting their fix for the bottom. We're going to go in and put epoxy into the gaps that are in the center of the column, and those areas that are in problem at the top of the piles will be more concrete will be added as a collar around the top of them. And we have about 4 piles left that are in question, and there were 30 out of 135 that we had problems with. So we've made a lot of headway with this issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Any other questions? Seeing none, monthly financial status report. Any requests to speak on that or questions? Seeing none. Quarterly financial status. Everything seems to be good. 7.7, quarterly investment report. And then finally, retiree OPEB trust fund, 7.8. Okay. Next, we have reports from governance groups and administration, starting with Saddleback College Academic Senate.
Dan Walsh, Saddleback College Academic Senate President. Welcome everybody to fall 2014. Todd stole some of my material about the college earlier, so I won't repeat those. But I do want to take a brief moment to recognize a recent grant received at Saddleback that's part of our college-wide efforts to improve student success. We received a 5-year grant from the Dell Foundation to join AVID, Advanced Via Individual Determination for Higher Education. AVID promotes high engagement between faculty and students aimed at increasing retention and completion. And this includes extensive faculty professional development activities, some of which took place last week. Though AVID is common and successful at high schools, Saddleback College is the only California community college to be awarded the Dell Grant for AVID. Counseling 140 sections can now provide guaranteed counselor appointments, and faculty mentors will take place with second-year honor students. Overall, it looks like we're heading towards increased student success and student contact with our faculty members as a direct result of AVID. And also, I'm going to talk to Deborah Fitzsimmons and our board policy committee to see if we can have a new board policy making the Chancellor's birthday a holiday next year.
All right, Faculty Association.
Hi, I'm Claire Cesario, Faculty Association President. So we're also pleased to be back for the semester and doing what we do best, which is teaching students in the classroom. The Faculty Association had a number of activities that we sponsored during Professional Development Week, such as our luncheon and meeting, and we were pleased that a number of the board members turned out for that event. We also held an orientation luncheon for the district's 31 new full-time faculty members, which is always very exciting to have new blood on campus. And next week we'll be hosting an orientation luncheon for our new part-time faculty, of which there are many. So thank you so much.
Great. IVC Academic Senate.
Good evening, Kathy Schmeidler, IVC Academic Senate President. Again, I'll echo my colleagues. Welcome to a new semester and a new academic year. We're off to a good start. Enrollments are strong at IVC, which makes faculty members happy, and I guess administrators too. But who cares, right? So all of our committees are beginning to meet. We're just gearing up for our new year. You've heard about some of our grants and some of our projects at IVC, and I'm sure you'll be hearing about more of them as we go along. The Student Success Summit is we believe is going to be held at Saddleback this year, but again, it will be a joint enterprise between the two colleges, and we're all looking forward to that. And I'll let y'all go.
All right. Associate Vice Chancellor, Economic Development.
Good evening. Thank you. Well, a brief report on some of the ATEP development activities. Announcements for bids on our next site demo at ATEP will go out in the next week or so that'll be moving forward. The City of Tustin contracted finally with an engineering and design firm for Bell Avenue construction at ATEP, and I attended the kickoff meeting just this morning, so that will be moving along over the next year. Work has also started on developing what we call the building criteria for the first building at ATEP for IVC. The land deal with the city that we worked on at the last board meeting closed on August 14th, and that deal is all closed. The work and planning for the new ATEP Development Master Plan is moving forward very nicely, and these meetings will be completing over the next 4 to 5 weeks. And we see a presentation to the Board of Trustees on that in September, possibly October. I know that Dr. Fitzsimmons, myself, Randy Delana, and many other faculty and staff have been involved in these planning efforts, and we're pleased to see them moving forward. Thank you.
Great. Next we have Vice Chancellor, Technology and Learning Services.
No report this evening.
Thank you. Vice Chancellor, Human Resources.
It always frightens me when Dan Walsh and I think along the same lines. But it's Chancellor Portner's birthday, and it just seems like, with your leave, our board president, it'd be appropriate to sing happy birthday to him, don't you think? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gary. Happy birthday to you.
There's going to be more work for him next week, isn't there? Okay. Vice Chancellor, Business Services.
No, nothing except that please look at my board report that's in the written agenda. We do have a workday update in there, and the project is continuing on time, and we're now getting into a really busy phase where we're going to be really reviewing our business processes for HR, benefits and payroll, and absence reporting, and asking for a lot of extra involvement from faculty and staff to take a look at those processes and reconfirm them. So we're getting into like a final phase on that phase, which going live for the phase 1 end of January. So it's coming soon. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Irvine Valley College Classified Senate.
Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for being here. Start of a new fall semester. I want to thank you and also Trustee Milchiker for attending the Classified Senate breakfast, and it was great to hear you both speak, along with President Roquemore and Vice Presidents Justice and Fontanella. It's good that you attended and got to rub elbows with the classified. Greatly appreciate that. Also want to thank Stephanie Alvarez, who is the classified employee that puts together the whole schedule of all those workshops and working with maintenance and the room setups and all that. So she does a tremendous job. Also want to thank Karen Martin, who coordinated all of the Classified Senate workshops. We had 6 of them for that week. So a lot of thank yous to a lot of great folks that helped out. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next we have CSEA President.
Thank you, Mr. President, Board of Trustees. Good evening. We just came back from our CSEA conference, which was about 3 weeks ago, and the association made available forums and symposiums for education days. And what's one such forum that was available was also designed for future leadership roles. And many of the delegates who were under the age of 35 actually attended this education day for future leadership, which is good to see because our association depends on the leadership from young people as we move forward. And also, too, the Community College Symposium was also available and presented by the CSEA Association. And there was many discussions on student success initiatives, the effect of mandated reporting requirements, and benefits and methods of building alliances with local government organizations. And so we were very pleased about that. During the conference, the delegates made a trip to the state capitol, got a chance to tour the state capitol. We even paid a visit to the office of Assemblyman Don Wagner. You might have heard of him. Also, too, day 4 was the final business meeting, and which included a great presentation by keynote speaker Alex Sheen. And he's the founder of the organization Because I Said I Would. And it was very inspiring, very inspirational and moving. And also, too, this was the type of speaker who really tried to put forth the lesson of keeping our promises and keeping our commitments. And if you ever get a chance, look up Alex Sheen, Because I Said I Would. He really moved the entire conference. Recently, I had a chance to visit the province of British Columbia in Canada. I got a chance to actually have lunch with a couple of politicians in the provincial lunchroom in the Parliament building. And we actually had good discussions on how they deal with unions, and especially in the city of Vancouver, which the union membership is growing because Vancouver is growing. So that was interesting, to say the least. Thank you.
Great. And next we have Saddleback College Classified Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mike Sauter, Saddleback College Classified President. Congratulations, Chancellor Portner. Happy birthday. Congratulations to the board and to the colleges for a successful start of the fall semester. It definitely kicked off with a bang, and we are all underway and real busy at the colleges. I am sure of it. Professional Development Week was a great week. I had a great time at the opening session listening to Bryce Harris. I thought that was a very good opening session. Thank you for inviting him and just putting it out there and asking. That was a treat. One of the best things about the Professional Development Week, the classified look forward to, is the classified luncheon. Thank you, President Prendergast, for coming to that. I appreciated that. It was a great opportunity for the Classified Senate to recognize employees for their contribution to the Senate and to the college. And we were able to take the opportunity to recognize 44 individual members of the classified ranks for their efforts for the previous year. And we gave them a certificate of appreciation and one of these handsome hot and cold logo mugs right here. And I have a logo mug for each one of you tonight as well. So I wanted to say thank you and pass these out to you for your hard work for the college. Other than that, our first meeting for the fall semester is September the 3rd, and we look forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. With that, we will adjourn this evening. And our adjournment tonight is in memory of Saddleback College professor Michael Runyon, who retired in 2008. We were saddened to learn that he died suddenly last month. Professor Runyon was one of the first faculty hired at Saddleback, taught English starting in the fall semester of 1977, and served briefly as the Vice Chancellor of Educational Services in 1998. He was a dedicated professor and colleague. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and friends. Thank you and good evening.